So we talked about a lot of things. Like, everyone knows right now, CC is a big problem. The way build diversity works is a big problem. But let's talk about one where I actually have an elegant solution, and one that I feel like should have been implemented on the launch of the game. I 100% disagree with the way Blizzard is nerfing dungeons. The way that they're approaching this is they're afraid that there's not enough to do in the game. I think what you could do,
leave it alone,
is you could just create more ways to grind in endgame. Like, sure, that takes development hours, but it feels a lot better than just saying, hey, you're leveling too fast, we want you to artificially inflate your hours, all these decisions that we have to nerf these dungeons. Because if you haven't been following the trend of Diablo 4 leveling, every day a new guide comes out, say, hey, go to this dungeon to farm. A day after, that dungeon gets nerfed, and then another video comes out. I guess this is great for content creators that like make that type of content, like you should go here, farm this billion XP per hour. But for the rest of us, it feels really bad. So you gotta look back and say, hey, what made Blizzard as a company like really great? Like, sure, Diablo 4 feels really good, but I don't agree with the decision they're implementing these nerfs. What you could do is you could have specific types of bounties. You already have something like Tree of Whispers, where, hey, this dungeon you get bonus, incentive to go do this dungeon. You can have a bulletin board in town that say, hey, for this amount of time, this dungeon gets extra XP. It's something that you don't have to interact with. It'll just be, hey, these dungeons are going to get an XP boost, and this is based on an automated system seeing how many players are farming this dungeon. It'll get players out to go explore the world for these dungeons that people never do. And if people still don't want to do those dungeons, then the day after it'll get cranked up. Let's say, for example, 20% XP bonus to Ruins of Eridu or whatever, because it's nerfed now and no one wants to run it. Okay, people still don't want to run it, and then you have data in the game, and if it triggers like less than 0.2% of players are running it, the day after, bump it up. The system will say, hey, here's 40%, and it'll go up and up and up, and the system will take care of that. That way, Blizzard, you don't have to keep nerfing things. It'll just actually promote dungeons in the game for the players. So then the players don't have to run around and try to go and find like the next exploit. The game will slowly move players towards these dungeons, that way you can reuse your assets. If you're worried about development costs, you can reuse your assets in that way. Like, why is there nothing like that? Like the Tree of Whisper system, it feels so like, hey, here's the same like 5 dungeons. Like I've noticed, like it just rotates around the same dungeons all the time. Like, I feel like you have so much potential with the Tree of Whispers bounty system. A lot of players don't even engage with it anymore because the legendaries that it drops, it's like 1 of 3 sets. People want to target farm rings. There's a chance that rings aren't even part of the system yet. So have a bulletin system. People care about the XP because they realize the grind is too long, and the game shouldn't end at level 100. The game shouldn't begin at level 100 either, but there should be something to do. I get it. Season 1's not even out, but players, like, these systems, eventually everyone's going to interact with. Because you're not focusing on these issues right now regarding player XP, because the casual player base isn't there yet, what do you think's going to happen when casual Andy actually hits those points? If the hardcore players are complaining about the XP rates, what do you think the casual players are gonna say once they get there? Think about it. Players should be rewarded for doing things, Like, again, reward the player. Make the player feel good. Like, every time someone finds a new way to do the dungeon, like, or a new way to grind because there's a best dungeon XP spot, it gets nerfed. This is the message that the players are sending. We don't like to take forever leveling. And the message that Blizzard is sending back is, we want you to take forever to level. And that's a terrible conversation. Well, what do you guys think about the whole situation that they're just manually nerfing dungeons every day? I feel like they could also buff nightmare dungeons. There's a lot they can do. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys around.